One more time, let's give a special thanks to Stefan Swanepoel. If you don't know me, you are going to remember me as the guy that came on after Stefan. You may remember some of what I said, you may not. And when they asked me to speak on the future of MLS leadership, I said, I have to follow Stefan. Okay, I'll be that guy. So I'm going to be that guy. Depending on who you ask up here to talk about such a large concept of future of MLS leadership, everyone would have something different to say. I want to tell you my story. Imagine yourself as a late 20, early 30-something-year-old, recently asked to run a fairly large regional MLS, and although you're not new to the industry, you're new to running an MLS. You come in with enthusiasm, with energy, with ideas. How exactly do you focus those ideas? What are your first steps? And then after that, you attend your first CMLS meeting as this newly minted MLS executive, and you're blown away. It's like drinking from a fire hose, right? You're wowed with the content, overwhelmed with all the networking, with the names, with the faces, the titles, the areas of the industry coming together. And you think, my goodness, am I going to be able to get my arms around this? Well, that was me. That was me about 12 years ago attending one of these, my very first time as an MLS executive. And something happened throughout that meeting. It was either by the afternoon that same day, or it was the next day where I turned to my coworker, to my friend next to me, and I said, I think this is an organization I want to join. I want to be involved in this. I want to be part of what's happening in my industry. As a matter of fact, if given the opportunity and I can help, I want to get involved in leadership because that is the best way I know to put action to example. Ladies and gentlemen, 12 years later, that person, me, was just elected president-elect of CMLS. Now, I'm not self-glorifying. I'm just simply saying, for those of you in this room that are attending the first time, it can be done. My experience with leadership, I want to boil down into 3 areas, and then I'm going to go from there. And again, my travels, my experience are my own. Everybody's experience, their process is unique to you, your organization, and what you are most motivated by. As I approach CMLS, I really boil it down to 3 areas that I found were most helpful with my approach to leadership overall in this industry. The first is, how do you identify where you can best be utilized? How can you make a beneficial impact on this industry? How can you not just take care of business in your own market, but within the industry? What is the best way to create a diverse network of peers and colleagues that you can share some ideas with, perhaps are a little bit crazy at times? And how do you prepare to be bold and courageous as you take your first month, your first year as an MLS leader? So what I mean by identify where you best can be used, there is a reason why I'm so involved in this industry. There's a reason why CMLS is the convergence point by which I get some of my best ideas and I hear from my colleagues. This is an opportunity for me to travel from Milwaukee to Austin, which it's been a wonderful time. Austin's a beautiful city. Or whether it be to Vegas or any of the other CMLS conferences. I need to find out what's happening. I need to keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening in the industry. CMLS for me has been an invaluable way to do that. For those of you that you find yourself breaking into the industry, maybe you're a new executive or maybe this is the first time here, I tell you just to jump in. Jump in. Find out those that you actually make real connections with. And then something special happens. As you make connections, as time goes on, as you create friendships and you exchange ideas, sometimes good, sometimes bad, you're going to create a bond, and that will create trust. And something really special when trust is entered into a relationship when it comes with leadership. Through trust, you start to share goals, perhaps even share visions. And at the end of the day, as MLSs, that's what we must all do. We must collaborate with shared goals, with a shared vision. The great thing about this is that this recipe was the same. Those that came before us, I was very lucky to come in behind Peter Shuttleworth. He would tell me stories about his days of community. Hello. Of building the bonds that he had, the friendships he maintained. He would tell me stories about him and the late Pat Bybee sitting around the bar, whispering, sometimes writing notes back and forth to each other, saying, what if we did this? What if we did that? Those opportunities are alive and well today, and I think even more so. CMLS makes that possible. I don't have really cool PowerPoint like Stefan, so you don't have to worry so much about that. This is just more or less to keep me going. The thing with identifying future leaders is that they may already be working in your offices, but many times you can't always identify future leaders of the industry. Many of them may very well be in this room, but they've never been given the opportunity to lead, to be responsible, to share their vision, to share their energy with an industry. The one thing that I will say about these future leaders coming up is what you will find, you must challenge the status quo. Stefan did a great job talking about the transformative issues that are before our industry. We must all challenge the status quo. The saying of we must get along to get along is no longer the method for success. And I actually dare each of you to be different. Start a movement. Again, I wasn't always on this stage. Those of you that want to be, you will be given that opportunity if you're passionate and strong enough. The thing also with being a leadership is you're going to be different. Your ideas are not the same ideas necessarily as your predecessor. You'll be challenged, you'll be ridiculed. You may very well have an idea that you present to a board of directors and get frowns and scowls. Wear that as a badge of honor, because that means you're pushing the envelope for what we can all realize as an industry. But there's something special about these bonds of trust that we create. If you get an idea and you vet it and you work with your brokers in your own marketplaces and you say, that's a great idea, followers start to come on board. Followers, they become your future leaders. Before you know it, a crazy idea is it's a movement. And something special happens with that movement. We see so many examples of it in the industry today. These individuals involved with movements, they all become leaders, and it spreads. And that is how the future of MLS leadership will be grown, is through taking those chances. Stefan did a much more thorough job of talking about the crazy ideas of consolidation. 10 years ago, if I would have put this in front of you, you would have said, those are crazy ideas. Why would Trend and MRIS merge? They're both successful large MLSs. Why would we do this? I would even probably guess that the leaders involved with that would say, that's a crazy idea. And yet, they decided to have a shared vision. They built on that trust they made through meeting and talking and discussing through meetings like this. And they helped lead and shepherd Bright MLS, Smart MLS in Connecticut, bold leaders like Cameron Payne, who, without their leadership, their bold initiatives, the Smart MLS idea would have never been successful. California Regional MLS, there's nobody more thought-provoking, and when I say aggressive, I mean pushing myself to be better than Art Carter does in California, to someday bring this idea of what a large regional MLS bringing economies of scale for the benefit of a broker can actually bring. And Neorex, I'm a little biased on that, but when Carl Demuse and John Curlitz said, our shareholders won't let us merge, that's okay, we're going to create a consolidated MLS platform. We're going to solve the problems that the brokers have. This is what happens when you push the status quo. This is what happens when you aren't scared to ask the right questions. Again, I guess what I want to impart with you is we all need to walk away with a shared purpose. There should be a call to action here, and I would be remiss if I didn't say 30% of this room are volunteer leaders. It is so important for you to make the connections here, but it's more important, in my opinion, to go and actually make the connections with the brokers and participants and realtors in your marketplace. What are their expectations from the MLS? Make sure that you are working on their behalf and collaborating on their behalf when you get to meetings like this. So the call to action for the leaders of today, those that came before us in today, look to your left, look to your right. Encourage those that want to make those steps. Give them responsibility, give them the opportunity. For those of you today, I will say this, and again, who am I to give advice? But I do know we were all born with 2 ears and 1 mouth. Take that opportunity to really listen. Today, take notes. Listen to everything that's being shared. Be passionate with how you approach business. I may very well give a speech and fumble over words and create a new word or a new vocabulary as I go through it, but I tell you, anybody that's ever met me will never say I was never passionate in my approach. To all of you, be passionate, be bold, be your authentic self, because a genuine approach will always come through. Will always come through. And so in regards to CMLS, I just ask one simple thing. Join us. Join us on making this bold step forward as we continue as peers and colleagues from the brokerage community to the vendors and to the MLS executives alike, come together. Let's forge ahead. Let's ask the questions. Let's encourage that next group of leaders. Thank you.